So you're ready to begin M1A1 preparing for a college semester. This assignment is a very practical assignment. It's designed to teach you how to plan effectively for a semester in the beginning of the term. Ideally, as you progress through your college education, you will use this assignment as a framework for that initial planning, that global framework that you will use to guide your meaning making throughout the semester, and then also your planning day to day, week to week, and month to month. It all starts with the fundamentals that are outlined here. The purpose of this video is to walk you through how to locate the assignment, how to download and utilize the template, some strategies for completing the assignment itself, and then also to upload the assignment. This will be a longer video, so you may feel the need to fast forward as appropriate. So you're here in our course, and M1A1, preparing for a college semester, you will use your schedule of activities to plan for the due date of this assignment. And M1 means that you can find the assignment in Module 1. So we'll click here in the Module 1 folder. And then we'll also click on the Module 1 assessments. You can find that there is some redundancy built into Blackboard just to help you locate items, especially in the beginning of the course. So here it tells us that if we click on the title of this folder, we will find M1A1. So in Blackboard, you will always click on the titles in order to access that content area. It's not intuitive, but you can just have to learn to play around. So here you will see that there are two assignments for Module 1, and here are the directions, the template, and also the rubric for M1A1. So let's go ahead and download this document. You can see that it downloaded in the lower left-hand corner. To prepare also, I'm going to download this rubric, which is going to open up in a tab, and I'll just keep that there so I can refer to it later. These directions are an overview, but since this is a template, you will also find directions built into the assignment itself. So let's just go ahead and look at that document. So let's open up our document and maximize it. And the first thing you'll need to do is enable editing. That will allow you to be able to type directly on the form itself. So in order to complete this assignment, you're going to need to locate the syllabi and schedule of activities or assignment outline for each of the courses in which you're enrolled this semester. Make sure that you have all of those resources before you attempt this assignment. Parts 1 and 2, you will use your syllabi and your schedule of activities to complete each of those areas. Part 3 is more reflective in nature, and you will draw on your own personal or college-related resources and experiences in order to complete that section. So let's take a look at part 1. Now, the way that you will use this form is that in each of these boxes, you will just have to click. I am using a left click in order to move my cursor in that area. So part 1 has us define and explain our context. Why is learning in that course important to you? What do you hope to gain in that course? Connecting to courses early on in the semester is really critical for success. A lot of AA students and even students pursuing more technical degrees like associate in science nursing or electrical engineering make the mistake of generalizing their courses and saying, oh, it's just my prerequisite, or those courses don't matter, it's just my general courses. But what you'll find in the sequence of these general education courses, or in the sequence of courses for an AA, is that you are really not only developing the fundamental knowledge that you need for upper level or for your technical degree program, but really some broad foundational skills that you start training and developing those skills in some of your earlier coursework so that you can advance through college further refining those skills. So connecting to those broad themes, even if it isn't content or specific knowledge, connections that you're making early on, connecting to some of the skills that you'll be developing in that course is important for adult learners. That meaning making is essential for us in order to fuel our motivation and ultimately the behaviors that reflect that throughout the semester. So I'm asking that you respond to each of these questions in 1 to 2 explanatory sentences. The idea is that you are providing both a main idea and key supporting details when necessary, and your responses reflect that you are thinking deeply about each of these questions. So instead of some superficial or generic responses, which are often perceived as meaningless, you really want to start connecting using details so that I can explain, so that I can understand your thinking pattern or why this is important to you. The rubric, let me pull that up. The rubrics are a wonderful guide to help you in developing the quality of your writing. Assignments, especially like this template, are going to tell you what you need to be giving me, right? So what you're specifically answering. But the rubrics, although organized according to each of the content areas, really give you some advice and a framework to guide the quality of your thinking and your writing. So you should be using both simultaneously. And here, in this section here, you can see the student fully answers each of the 3 questions, providing relevant details and examples when necessary, and connects the answers to personal knowledge and experiences. So if you attempt to do that in each of the 3 questions, you'll likely earn the maximum points in that area. So I listed the first course as my course. If you're only taking one class, you will only complete this section. I've provided 4 tables because most students, full-time students, are taking 4 classes. If you're taking more courses, you could always copy and paste the table and add another one. Or if you're only taking a couple of classes, just provide answers for tables 1 and 2. If you have a class that is starting next week, you can always just give a note here and say PS psychology class starting January 22nd. This will let me know that at least you are thinking about this, you're aware that you have a course starting, and ideally you would go through this assignment and once that course starts, right, on your own. Let's take a look, instead of looking at our course, let's take a look at another professor's course. So here, we're just going to look at an old syllabus from last semester or from last year from Dr. Malady, just so you can see what this would look like with another course. So I'm going to use this syllabus, which actually has the schedule of activities at the end of it all in one, in order to answer these 3 questions. So let's take a look at the first one. The first one asks us to list 2 knowledge areas or skills that you're interested to develop in this course. So some tips for locating those. Within each syllabus, you're going to see a course description. You might find some meaningful connection there. You will see a general education learning outcome linked. This course links to 2 of them, communication and interpretation and evaluation. Here at Indian River, there are 4 general education learning outcomes, and you can imagine these as the threads that are woven throughout all of the courses here at Indian River. These are the general knowledge, the general skills that you will be developing and required to use in each of your courses. So this course connects to these 2. That's one area that you might decide to connect to. And then you'll see there are specific course learning outcomes. And in this course, they're broken down into 2 skill sets. There are 10 learning outcomes, course learning outcomes related to written and oral communication skills, and then there are 9 pertaining to reasoning and research skills. So the idea is that you're going to go through and you're going to find 2 that you think, wow, that's really interesting, or that's a strength that I have, and I'm really looking forward to this course and further refining that or strengthening that skill area. Or perhaps you can say, I think that this is going to be important for my future college work. This course is going to teach me how to do that, so therefore I'm interested in developing that skill. So let's take a look. So being able to write clearly and precisely starts with having a strong topic. So that's something that is interesting to me. And then the reasoning and research skills, evaluating the quality and relevance of sources. Perhaps in high school, you would always just Google something and then take whatever information you found off Google. But now that you're a college student and you're entering into a knowledge community, you know that the quality of your sources is going to be critical, and you're going to learn how to evaluate that quality. So that might be important. And then maybe also reasoning critically, detecting bias in order to evaluate the argument or claim. So those are 3 that are really interesting to me. I'm going to keep these 2 in the reasoning and research area. And I'm going to say that these are the 2 things that are really interesting to me. And it's perfectly acceptable in this section here just to copy and paste. And I'm realizing that I forgot to put the course title, which is ENC 1101, and then Dr. Maloney as my professor. So this is skill 1, and this is skill 2. The good thing about taking these directly from the syllabus is that they're already complete sentences and thoughts. So the next, describe what you expect to be difficult about the course. So in your scan, this may pertain to things that you've heard before about the professor or the course. But as you go through, you might say, wow, a research project, a 2,000-word research paper, that sounds like a real challenge for me. I've never written a paper that lengthy. Perhaps you take a look at the attendance requirement. Perhaps you have children or other responsibilities that causes you to think that you might be absent a lot. Here we see that absence is critical. Perhaps that's something that you're concerned about. That big research paper makes up 25% of your grade. So as you're scanning, you are looking for something to connect to. So here you might want to write a sentence about the course grade is made is composed of that doesn't make any sense. How about 25% of the course grade is composed of the research paper. I believe writing a 2,000-word research paper would present a challenge for me because, and then here you can really define what were your past experiences writing a research paper of this size, what was some feedback that you got before, what were some of the things that worked for you in the past, that didn't work for you, and here you could describe that in detail. And then the next question is explain why learning and performance in this class is important for your future as a college student. Well, here you're starting to connect more broadly than maybe you did in this first question. And I think, if you've already connected to a course, then that's great. Otherwise, one wonderful place where you can go for these connections is here, maybe in the communication or the interpretation and evaluation. So perhaps demonstrate the ability to think critically is something that you think is really important for your future as a college student, and you can explain why you think that developing that skill here is going to help you. And then the next section, so you'll do that same 3 questions for each of your courses. And then part 2 is the goal calendar. You can see I've already entered the due dates for all your major assignments here. I want you to take the opportunity to put your due dates for all your major papers, tests, quizzes, presentations, all here in one place. Remember that I'm pretty familiar with your other courses. I've seen other students complete this work, so I will be able to make some assessments of whether or not you are completing these calendars in full. And you're looking to enter due dates for the entire semester. You don't have to enter your due dates for readings, the things that you need to be prepared for classes with, but you do need to enter your due dates for graded assessments. When you're typing here, again, you can click in any box, but if you need some more space, you can just drag these lines and that will give you enough space. Ultimately, we'll work together in getting these neatly on one page. It just depends on what your schedule will look like. The last part, I want you to list 3 barriers that could have an external or internal influence on your success this semester and propose some possible solutions. So 3 barriers, so these you could look at your past experiences as a college student or as a student, things that came up. You could look at your current situation, your responsibilities, the load of classes that you're taking as a college student. Maybe they're heavy in the math and science, whatever you are perceiving as potential barriers that could have either an internal or an external influence, right? So an external means that it would affect other things. An internal would mean that it would affect your attitude, your mindset, really affect you. The idea here is that you're identifying those early on, so as they start to surface, you'll be able to label them quickly and hopefully implement some of your solutions. You can consider your solutions as solutions or as resources. And remember here, it's important to be detailed in order to help communicate your ideas clearly to me so that I can understand very clearly why this is a barrier specifically to you and why this solution and or resources are appropriate for your particular problem and your particular context. Okay, if you have any questions, you can always email me or visit me during my office hours. You can check the instructor information for more information there. So once you're done with the assignment, you will go to File and Save As. I always save everything that I want to pull right away on my desktop. Here you can label it as the same as the assignment, but then put your last name, depends on what you want to do. I'm going to save it there. And then once you're ready to submit it, it's that same idea. You're going to click here on the title. You will see the directions and the rubric. You will attach that file by browsing your computer. And there it is. I want you to submit everything through the college's Safe Assign plagiarism tool. Comments are really just for comments. This was very helpful. And then you will click Submit. Once you're done, you will see it hasn't been graded yet, but you can see that here's your assignment listed here. If you made a mistake or you wanted to come back to this assignment, you could go back to Module 1 Assessments, click on the assignment itself, and here you'll see your prior, and you can always start a new one if that's what you decide to do. Okay, good luck.